So Paul, chapter 9 of your New Normal book deals with the implications of three big macroeconomic trends for chemical manufacturers. And you've actually got a cutout for people to stick on their boardroom wall or on their control room. Could you outline those three factors for us?
Yes, they are quite a revolutionary change really for the industry, because what we're talking about is being demand driven rather than supply driven over the past, as we have been over the past 20 or so years. So they are the rise of the over 55 generation in the West. 29% of the population is now over 55, so the new old generation.
Yeah.
The really worrying problem about the rise in youth unemployment, which really somebody has to deal with, because otherwise we're storing up major problems for our society. Right. And third is the encouraging signs of the large numbers of people in the emerging economies who are moving out of poverty for the first time and have got some money to spend. Yeah. So, as I was saying, three demand drivers here which require an adjustment in the way we manufacture if we're going to satisfy these demands.
Okay. And for chemical manufacturers, this obviously means changes. How can they adapt to these changes? You point out one example as being the move away from quantity towards quality manufacturing.
Yes, I mean, in some ways this is going back to basics, you might say. I mean, many people will remember the quality movement that came through the industry in the 1980s and the 1990s, and the superb work that the companies like DuPont and ICI and GE did at the time in making us all recognise that garbage in, garbage out is a process, and you don't want to monitor quality at the end, you want to design quality in. And at the same time, this led to an awareness that accidents didn't just happen. And so companies like my own ICI put safety as the first item on the agenda.
Right.
And you've got safety right, and you've got employee welfare right, and you then got product quality right, and everything else followed on from that.
Okay.
So it was a very efficient, but we lost our way in many cases in the last 8 years. You look at, on the blog, you look at the number of force majeures as I monitor them now every 6 months or so, they're going up all the time. We've moved away, it wasn't the chemical industry's fault, we moved into this throwaway society. Oh, that t-shirt, I'm only going to wear it once, it's only cost me $2, you know, so what if it rips, who cares? So, if people aren't paying for it, you don't make the quality. But now, every little bit matters. Quality is important, sustainability is important. So we really have to think again about how we do it. And of course, getting back to quality as a first principle is the ideal way of going forward.
You also highlight process intensification as an issue.
Yes, this is a very striking new opportunity, which means that you can do more with less. In the past, typically, you know, we'll build a 36-ton reactor, and you know, I've run plants like this myself. You know, they fill the size of a building. They're not very efficient. They take a long time. The quality, even in the best managed companies, is a bit variable because you're mixing things which don't necessarily all mix together properly over a 10 or 12-hour period. Instead, you can move to this process intensification where you bring together the molecules that you want to combine, you can monitor the moment at which they combine, and not only do you reduce the time that it takes, you reduce the size of the equipment you need, you reduce the amount of energy you require, you reduce almost all of the waste, so the capital cost goes down, the operating cost goes down, and you get a better result in terms of much improved quality. So process intensification, as a move away from batch processes to continuous, is a really valuable way forward. And so these are the kind of opportunities that if you put it together, here we are moving into a new world, major demand, which we need to satisfy. We can't satisfy it in the old way of just making whatever comes along and so on for the throwaway society. We need to be much more tailored, much more careful. And here are new opportunities like process intensification for doing it.
Would you like to highlight any examples of success that you've seen around so far in manufacturing?
Yes, I think that the way that companies today are focusing once more on quality as a key issue. Use an example actually from Toyota, a very major customer, obviously, of the industry. And one which, as many people remember, had a major problem with vehicle recalls in the States a couple of years ago. Now, the way Toyota reacted to that, it turned out, after all the investigations and everything else, that it wasn't a manufacturing problem in the first place. So their system had worked, the Toyota way, which we write about in the chapter. But secondly, what did Toyota say? Which the president of Toyota did. He said, look, the fact that we didn't get the manufacturing wrong isn't enough. We obviously didn't design it properly. So we need to, he said, quote, go back to basics and redesign the customer experience in order to get that important part of the value chain right. Now, Toyota, as we know, fabulously successful, highly respected company, coming back very strongly after that unfortunate incident. As I say, wasn't there, they could easily have said, oh, that wasn't our fault, but they didn't. And this kind of proactive, let's go the extra step, I think is a wonderful example to us in the chemical industry from one of our customers on how we can win.
Thanks very much, Paul.
Thank you, Will.